Welcome back to my interdisciplinary art studio.
Hello, good morning. Today, I am gonna paint all day.
Here, I share with you a full day in the studio following my routines and rituals seen in this video. Let's start with some painting warm-ups. As this studio day was in the height of autumn, foliage was in peak beautiful form here in Maine, I started with a warm-up from photos that I had just taken the day before of the trees on our landscape. As this was just a sketch, I was determining the significant shapes and the color story to see if I would want to make this into a full-size, large-scale painting. Then I moved on to doing some journaling for the day and even pulled some cards. I have this animal spirit deck that I really love. I am in the market for a new oracle deck, so if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. I actually created this oracle deck, which I would love to recommend as well. Then I got planning for the day and the week as it was Monday and determined my two major tasks for the day and my primary focus for the week. I had a big studio visit coming up at the end of the week, so that was my primary focus. I looked longingly at my freshly made paint cart. The night before, I had started 2 black and white painting sketches on paper to christen the paint cart. The point of sketching for me is to create the most simplified version of an amount of complex information that I am filtering through my mind when looking at an image or observing something in space that I might want to make a painting of. Wanting to make sure that the painting will function in terms of value. So value is the darkness or lightness and everything in between within a painting. So value does a ton of work within a painting. It shows you dimension. So I will consider all of the major shapes that are within a piece and I will render them either black, white, or somewhere in between on that grayscale. This helps me to really summarize the information very clearly and concise ways. If you'd like to hear more insights into the value of working in black and white, you can check out this Patreon post.
So it's the first day in the studio that I have my custom paint cart. Dan and I designed this to my specifications for my height. When I'm standing, it's really easy to work. And then I've got my big palette. These brushes are slightly dirty, so they're ready to go. I have a show that I want to apply to that's the whole gallery is all black and white. I have a few pieces that I'm going to be making. This is a great way to consider what I want to add to my winter collection, like a mini series within a year-long series that I'm making. What I want to do is make some black and gray paint from earth pigments from ochres, and then be able to use them to create the final pieces. These are just sketches. I started them last night. I mean, we spent like 2 weeks making this. Literally the second that we finished the top, we put it on there and I just like slapped paper onto it and I started painting these because I was like, it'd be really tempting to be precious with it, but because I think it's such a beautiful piece of furniture, but it's made to be used and made to be messy. It has to have paint on it. It's a paint cart. I would love to work on this piece. I built these. So these 2 stretcher bars. So this is a stretcher bar on canvas.
This was probably my 3rd session working on the painting that would become our forever. It's my bridal bouquet becoming part of the landscape that was beside our tiny house at the time, alongside autumn leaves.
So, been painting for a little while. I think having the cart like this works. Just starting to get some definition.
I wanted to share a little clip of real-time painting To give you a sense of the luxurious feeling of painting, we often see really sped up videos of painting, and as my work is all about slowing down and being present, and that's what painting does for me, I wanted to give a little bit of that to you.
I just watched a great Lois Dodd artist interview that I've watched several times. And when thinking about when to know when a piece is done, when you've made your last meaningful mark, a piece is done. Like, you don't just keep painting to keep painting. Like, there has to be a purpose to every mark, and it has to be adding to the overall impression you're trying to give, the story you're trying to tell. Yeah, once you've done that, there's no reason to keep painting. I just love her articulation of that. It's a great interview. I want to work up to going over here. I don't know though. Check out how the weather is. Go outside, get a little sun, maybe take some photos, go on a little walk. And what I'll do is I have to grab my photo reference because I was using it for my quilt. So I gotta go grab that over in the Maker's Nook, as well as check out what paints I might wanna make. There's a few colors that I really need, so go check that out. This piece has really experienced a lot of starting and stopping with it. It's not my usual mode to do that, but yeah, there's a lot of challenges with this piece. I never really do figurative painting. It's not something that I'm known for in any way, but I love painting fibers, and I'm using oil pastel. I'm looking forward to working on this some more. I forgot the picture. I'm just gonna print another one. I definitely need two. What was the printer I use? Epsom Eco Ink? Eco Tank or whatever? I was talking about you. I was trying to say how great you were, but you're very loud. Maybe getting a fresh image will give me some fresh perspective. Always cut all the edges off so then I can see the proportions. If not, I'm gonna have to compensate for the edge of the printed page. It's gonna slow you down. Cognitively. We're gonna get somewhere with this finally.
I obviously just cut it out because it's just me like standing there staring, but I spent a lot of time just deeply looking at the work and then noticing anything I can in differences from the photo that I am trying to render. I'm always expanding on the photo. The photo is just a jumping off point for composition, but that was what I did that session. This sweater is a little bit too big. Let's just fix that real quick.
Okay, like it would look better. Cropped it to here.
I determined how much I needed to shorten it. Luckily, it was right on the edge of the patch. I used the same sweatband at the bottom.
Still turning around. Some snow. The snow settled again. Feel the dark against rainy weather at his face.
All right, let's try this on. So it's shortened and taken in. So I serged the end so it won't fray. And it's nice and secure. I love the slouchy sleeves and how big it is, but when it was big on top and on bottom, with it being so long and that I usually wear kind of wide pants, I was kind of just like out and then out and then out. So
you can watch this video if you want to learn how to make your own applique sweatshirt from scraps.
It's so pretty out. In addition to my painting, I've been working on quilts. That is an abstraction of painting. This is the image I've been working from. You can tell it's like different than the one that's printed because there's lots of paint on it already from my grubby mitts. It's like so exhausted from all the times that I've used the seam ripper. I'm gonna be seam ripping pretty much this entire thing because I want it to be this design.
instead. So I was like, I want to wait till my seam ripper comes in the mail because that's going to be a lot. Using this was like cutting steak with a butter knife. Oh my god, it's like effortlessly sharp. That's nice. Oh my god, it's so sharp. Thank goodness. I have to figure out the measurements and then figure out how many. All right. I see.
Now that my sweatshirt is a cute length, I'm gonna get back to painting. I just had a really big lunch and it was delicious. So I feel supercharged. I'm ready to go. I filled up my water bottle. Stay hydrated. This is a very physical one. Essentially, I changed the proportions because when I had built this stretcher bar, it was actually for a different painting, so it's different proportions. If I drew it like this, it would have to be longer and skinnier. But as it is, basically I've cropped it to here. I don't want it to look like stunted. Oh yeah, that actually works. I feel like just leaving it like that works. And obviously it implies that the blanket is smaller, which is not true. But this is a painting, not a reality. It's always so important to decide what makes sense for the piece and not be a slave to it. I feel like this painting has been such a weird place for a while, so I'm gonna do my best. This cart rolls very well, but it is very heavy. We're gonna keep going and see what we can do. I would love to be able to finish this painting this week. Don't know if that's possible.
Even though I did spend about 30 more hours on this painting that week, I was so far from done. I actually just finished it and I'm recording this audio about a month after making this video. That's the thing with large works is you pour your heart and soul into them and it kind of just like eats it for a while and then all of a sudden it's done. Thank you so much for hanging out in the studio with me. If you would like to support small, sustainable artists, check out my website. You can go to my shop and check out the work that I have available. And if you would like to be part of a growing art community, you can head to my Patreon and receive more inspiration and guidance. Thanks so much. See you next time.